first bomb hit before the warning finished. 1 second I was inside a U.S. operations compound near the Persian Gulf checking tanker movement through Hormuz. Next second the floor came up like God punched the building from underneath. Concrete split, lights died. Somebody near me started screaming into a dead radio like that was still gonna fix anything. I looked down and 2 fingers on my left hand were gone. Just gone. Crushed flat under steel and concrete. No movie shit, no dramatic music. Just dust in my mouth and diesel smoke burning my lungs. And here's the part that'll mess with you. The people who dropped the bombs were ours. Yeah, American pilots, American coordinates, American signatures on the strike order. And 3 days before that strike, a U.S. senator made $340 million betting oil markets would explode. That senator was Richard Hale. Everybody in D.C. called him reasonable, calm, patriotic. That's the scary part. Guys like him never raised their voice. They just sign papers and sleep like babies after. My name's Daniel Cross. 2 years ago, the United States government buried me alive without putting me in a grave. This is how I buried one of theirs back. After the strike, they flew me to Virginia under military blackout. No public casualty list. No press, no statements. Compound officially didn't exist. That's how they cleaned it. They erased the building before the smoke even cleared. Surgeon pulled dead tissue out of my hand, while CNBC talked about oil prices climbing 14% from Gulf instability. Everybody on TV smiling, markets breaking records, senators talking about regional stabilization. Same old Beltway garbage. I got sent home with missing fingers, nerve damage, and enough classified paperwork to choke a horse. My wife Lena barely recognized me when I walked through the door. My daughter Ava stayed upstairs the whole first night. Smart kid. Probably knew something was broken before I did. Ava used to leave sticky notes on the fridge with terrible jokes written in blue marker. Last one I found said, "Dad, why can't you trust atoms? Because they make up everything." I kept that note in my wallet for 8 months before the ink faded. Couple months later, I found Hale's trades by accident inside an energy procurement audit. Delaware shell companies, offshore leverage. Gulf shipping shorts placed 3 days before the strike package launched. Perfect timing. Too perfect. I dug deeper. Trusts, proxy firms, back channels. Eventually everything pointed back to Hale's network. Quiet money, old money. DC money. I reported it through official channels because back then I still believed rules meant something. Crazy, right? Inspector General Office treated me like I was some burnt-out conspiracy case. One attorney actually asked if combat stress was affecting my judgment. Combat stress. Buddy, I had transaction records, timestamps, signatures, didn't matter. 3 weeks later my clearance disappeared. Then my accounts got frozen during a classified leak investigation I never got charged for. Media started calling me unstable. Former officials saying I had difficulty adjusting post-deployment. Cute way of saying they wanted me erased. Lena filed for divorce 6 months later. No screaming, no plates breaking, just signatures and silence inside a courthouse that smelled like old coffee. Last thing she said to me was, "I don't know how to reach you anymore." Truth is, neither did I. Ava stopped answering my texts after that. That was the last clean thing the government took from me. I moved into a basement apartment outside Baltimore with pipes knocking all night like somebody trapped inside the walls. Drank cheap bourbon carefully, never enough to black out, just enough to stop the noise for a few hours. Then one night I got an encrypted message from a dead account I used overseas. 3 words, "I know Hale." That was it. Attached was a Berlin number. That's how I met Yusuf al-Rashidi, Iranian economist, exile, looked more like a sleep-deprived accountant than somebody hunting senators across continents. We met in a cafe near Alexanderplatz while freezing rain turned the streets black outside. Yusuf slid me a folder thick as a Bible. Inside was 6 years of financial fingerprints tied to Gulf escalations, senators, defense contractors, lobbyists, everybody eating from the same poison plate. My wife and sons died near Bandar Abbas during the strike, he told me while stirring tea like he was discussing weather, no emotion in his voice. That made it worse. Yusuf didn't hate America. That's too simple. He hated systems. Same as me. We started building the map together after that, quietly. Different cities every week. Berlin, Prague, Vienna. We stopped being victims somewhere along the line. Didn't notice exactly when. We just became surgeons cutting into the same infected body. Hale's whole game depended on predictability. He got rich because he believed war behaved like mathematics. Push tension high enough near Hormuz, markets panicked the same way every time. so we built him a fake war. That was the play. We created a ghost investment structure, mirroring the exact offshore architecture Hale used before previous strikes. Then we fed false intelligence into Pentagon channels through somebody who owed me a favor. Not fake enough to trigger alarms, just believable enough for greedy men to start moving money. Intelligence whispers started circulating through D.C. Possible covert naval action, straight disruption, tanker risks, same old song. Hale bit hard, real hard. His people opened massive leveraged positions against Gulf shipping routes, expecting another strike cycle. $600 million exposed in 4 days. Yusuf watched the positions build from a rented office in Prague while eating vending machine peanuts for dinner. He doubled after the second briefing, he said. I asked why. Yusuf shrugged. Because the first crimes worked. That's the thing about powerful people. They stop thinking they can lose. Then the White House announced emergency de-escalation talks through Oman. No strike, no disruption. Saudi production increased overnight after private guarantees from Washington. Oil dropped 6% in less than 48 hours. Gulf shipping indexes rebounded even faster. Hale's positions started bleeding immediately. First came emergency, collateral demands from European lenders. Then partner firms started dumping exposure, trying to save themselves before Asian markets opened. One hedge fund manager wired $40 million through Singapore before regulators froze the transfer halfway through processing. Yusuf watched it happen live on 3 monitors in Prague, didn't even blink. Now they're panicking, he said. By Thursday morning, the losses crossed $600 million. Phones were ringing non-stop inside firms that spent years believing they were untouchable. Assistants deleting files, lawyers rewriting timelines, investors threatening lawsuits. One consultant flipped before federal investigators even reached him. Another handed over archived messages in exchange for immunity. Yusuf already predicted both names 2 days earlier. Dude was playing chess while these clowns still thought they were gambling. Then we dropped the evidence. Not leaks, not rumors, raw documentation, transaction chains, ownership structures, timestamps. Financial routes connecting Hale's network directly to military escalation forecasts. Journalists in Brussels, Toronto, and Tokyo got everything simultaneously. Once the math hit public view, the machine started eating itself alive. Cable news ran Hale's speeches beside trading timelines 24 hours a day. Congressional aides started deleting contacts like middle school kids hiding text messages. And Hale, man, stayed calm through all of it. That's what made him terrifying. Cameras caught him walking through Capitol hallways with reporters screaming questions in his face. He just adjusted his cufflinks and said, "The public deserves facts, not hysteria." Smooth, controlled, like a guy discussing weather forecasts instead of war profiteering. Federal agents arrested him that night at his Georgetown house. No handcuffs, no dramatic scene. Guys like Hale don't get dragged, they get escorted. 2 years earlier, I would have thought seeing him arrested would fix something inside me. It didn't. Revenge doesn't repair anything. It just transfers damage. Yusuf flew back to Berlin the same morning. We haven't spoken since. Some partnerships only exist inside the work. I was in Lisbon when Hale got arrested. Small apartment above a tram line. Rain against the windows all morning. Portuguese news showing Hale getting into a federal vehicle, while market analysts talked about corruption probes and classified hearings. I turned the TV off halfway through. My phone started vibrating on the kitchen table. Ava. First time she'd called me in 2 years. I looked at the screen while rain slid down the glass outside. Phone kept ringing. I didn't touch it, didn't move, didn't say a word. Eventually it stopped. Tram rolled past outside. Room stayed quiet, that was it.